Hi, my name is Tom Arnold, and I'm going to show you what it's like to create a load test using Visual Studio Team System. I'll start by creating a new test project and adding a web test to it. Now, you'd think that you want to add a load test first, but you actually record the different types of tests that you want to be able to put under load. And in this case, that's recording a web test. So I'm going with the defaults. Now you notice next that it brings up an instance of Internet Explorer, and it's got a pane down here where it's going to keep track of all the different steps that I'm taking. So I'm going to bring up our fictional company called AdventureWorks and pick an item that I want to purchase and add to my shopping cart. Looks good. Check out and fill in some information. And again, you'll notice that as I'm clicking along that it's keeping track of everything that I'm submitting to the server. And my email address. Of course, we cannot forget that we need to pay for this. 2005 work. And submit this. Looks good. Buy now. I've got my summary page to review my order and submit my order. And it looks like everything's good. So let me save that recording. And notice how those same URLs are actually showing up here over in my document, my web test document. So I'll save that. And I want to step through this test and look at to make sure that it's actually executing as expected. So I'm going to step through this test really quickly. Widen this down a little bit. And as I'm stepping through it, you'll notice that I hit each of the URLs one at a time and it actually loads the page. In addition to that, I can also see what exactly was the request that I sent and what was the response that I got back from the server. So in addition to the HTML body, I get some other header information back. And it looks good, so I'll go ahead and click play to have it step through the rest of those. And it looks like I've recorded a good test. Now I don't want to save those results. So I've got my web test. Now I want to go ahead and create a load test. So it's very similar to creating a web test. I actually go up and add a new item, and this will bring up my load test wizard. And what's really cool about this is this allows me to just go ahead and select the different types of tests I want to put under load, control what percentage of which tests that I've added are actually being used in the load, control how my browser is set up, so my think time, how much time I'm actually spending on each page, cache control, session code, and also the ability to control what type of mix of browsers. So if I've got Netscape up, I can have a percentage of requests coming from that. Same with the bandwidth mix. I can do simulation of T1 and 56K modems, and also cable modems. And then this is the really cool part. This is where I actually get to go in and tell it what statistics I want to collect. Now, I may not really be sure enough if I haven't done a lot of load testing on exactly what settings I want. So what's cool here is that Microsoft provides me with some standard settings that I can select. Now I know it's an ASP.NET application and I know it's running on IIS. So let's go ahead and start with that and see what kind of results we get. It's as simple as that. I just select those two items and it'll go ahead and display what I need to know for the rest of them. I can also control the type of load I want to do. Do I want a constant load, or do I want to step it up as the test executes? And by stepping it up, it allows the test to actually make some progress. So that I have X number of users are actually getting a certain distance into the application, and that way I don't have 200 users trying to log on at the exact same time. Now in my document window, you notice that basically everything I just said in that wizard has now been set up for me for the load test, and so now I can actually go and run this load test. So I come over to my test view window, I select the test that I want to run, and I click the run button, and I get a run configuration dialog box. Now this allows me to specify how I want to run my test. Do I actually want to run it locally on my local computer, or do I want to run it on a lab configuration that I've got set up? In this case, I'm going to run it locally. Okay, and so I've got my load test showing up here in my test results window, and it started its execution. It looks like it's in progress, and I can see some details on that load test by right-clicking on it and selecting Show Details. And you'll see that the test is already in progress. So I've got some good information being collected here. I hope I set this up for 1 minute. No, it looks like I set up for 10 minutes. Well, we'll just let it run here. As I talk about some of the other things. So you notice also that I've got information that shows up on my left pane over here. And what this provides me is information about problems I'm running into. For example, CLR memory. It appears I've hit a threshold where I'm using more memory than I want to be using on the server. So that's something that I need to look at. And I can drill down a little bit further on that and find out more details. Looks like garbage collection. And I could even drag that over and drop it on the chart if I want to watch how it's progressing through the run of my tests. And that's basically how you run a load test using Visual Studio Team System.